Hello and welcome to a new video. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the top teams for the Open Great League. This is going to be mostly one out of two videos for the Open Great League because I kind of want to take a look at some of the more interesting Pokemon as well here outside of the meta. But today we're going to take a look at more of the core meta updates based on like the rankings as well and find some top teams around it that you can run. And so yeah, hopefully you enjoy this type of videos. If you do, feel free to leave a like. And again, I'm mostly going to have another video towards the Open Great League top teams. But this video today is also special because of today's sponsor, boot.dev. I've been trying it out myself and it's easily one of the most fun ways I found to actually stick with coding. This video is sponsored, but I'm using it myself. I can say it's a genuine, solid way of learning back-end development. boot.dev teaches you back-end development in Python, SQL, and Go, but what it makes it stand out is that it feels more like a game. It's not a boring tutorial. You can earn XP, you can level up, you can unlock achievements as you learn. And they just launched also something really interesting, the training grounds. In this new area, you're going to be able to grind infinite coding challenges, basically unlimited practice before you move forward into the coursework. It's perfect if you want to get some extra reps in on some tricky topics without feeling rushed. Also, when I tested out, I ran into Boots, the Bear Wizard AI tutor. If you're stuck, he doesn't give you just the solution. He asks you a question, he tries to get you into the right direction, and you can actually learn while solving the problem. And combine this with the training rounds and the active boot.dev Discord community, you really have a support system there that can keep you moving forward. All the lessons, by the way, are free to read and watch. And if you're interested into the interactive features, hands-on coding, AI assistance, progress tracking, and now the training grounds, you can unlock them with a membership. There's a 30-day refund policy, so you can try it risk-free. And considering that backend development in the US make a median salary of over $100,000 a year, it's kind of a simple investment there, I say. So if you want to give it a try, head over to boot.dev and use my code Jonkus to get 25% off for the first year of the annual plan. I put the link, the code, and the QR code on the screen so you can check it out now. Big thanks again to boot.dev for sponsoring today's video, and let's move right into the top team. Take a look now at team number 1. We're going to have a team here around the Shadow Empoleon. This Pokemon is going to be way better this upcoming season, with the new fast move of Metal Sound being added, allowing it to generate energy faster, and also now you get your Hydro Cannon and Drill Peck at a respectable speed, plus Drill Peck got buffed. Also, we're going to have a buff here on the Dragonair, with Dragon Breath changing the amount of energy it generates and also the amount of damage it does, a little bit lower damage, more energy. This Pokemon is going to be very good, and also this team itself looks like a really good one. I do think that Golurk has a lot of potential this upcoming meta as well. This team looks basically fantastic. There's next to no real answer to it. Even like the Pokemon that are answers are not really answers. Against Gyarados, you still have to play with Elite and your Sasop. Against the Primeape, your Sasop and the Closer always have a little bit of play as well against it. Those Pokemon can just be a little bit awkward with if they have a little bit of an energy lead. But otherwise, this first team here is already one of the teams I would really recommend you to run. I think this team is really good and very balanced for the upcoming meta. Next team, we're going to have Guzzlord, we're going to have the Sasop of Drapion and the Clodsire in the back. Drapion is kind of cool here. Drapion is of course going to have access to the move Orchid Tail and is mainly here to counter out potential ground type Pokemon which are still going to be in the meta. Guzzlord has an insane win rate and kind of want to take advantage of that one, but you really need to have like a Pokemon that can counter the Fairy type Pokemon, and you only really have like 3 types that can do it. For example, Steel, which is the best type for it, which is going to be able to resist the Fairy and also do super effective damage against. Not really possible. Poison is kind of the same way there. We do super effective damage and also resist the fast moves there from Fairy type Pokemon. In this case, that's kind of the route we went for. Then you would have Fire type Pokemon, which also could still work. And also, it could be an alternative option for the Clodsire. It could be something like a Talonflame, because it's going to still have the coverage against the Fairy type Pokemon, even though you only have the defensive coverage there. But also, you would have a very nice synergy together with that. What's called the Guzzlord in the lead, because Guzzlord weak to fighting and ice, and usually Talonflame can deal with both of them very good. So that's an alternative here for the Clodsire. Otherwise, more of a kind of standard team here as well. I could actually see that Talonflame is even a little bit better, with especially that Steelix as a weakness for this team here. So yeah, interesting other alternative option. Didn't really think about it too much beforehand, but it does make a lot of sense. So if you want to run this, maybe Talonflame is even a little bit better than Clodsire. Next team here is going to play the Dexpan. Dexpan is going to be an interesting Pokemon here, having access to that Psychic Fangs. But again, I don't think it's actually going to be as good as PvPoke says it is, because what we'll see here is that PvPoke says that this Pokemon gets +3 energy on the charm. I think +1 makes more sense here. For +3, you want to get to your moves after just 4 charms, which is something that is kind of unheard of, which I don't think is alright either. But yeah, you're going to have great pacing there. If it is like it is currently on PvPoke, this is looking like a very, very much dominant meta Pokemon. Like, this Pokemon is very difficult to deal with. You have to specifically kind of counter it with a Pokemon with like good defense as well, because otherwise you can even charm down through things with that Psychic Fangs. Anyway, as you can see as well, this team looks really, really cool. Weakness tough, not really, to be fair. Weakness tough is still going to be an alright for our Dexpan. But also, more like the weakness is going to be something like the Venusaur here. Venusaur is going to be very, very good to break the Water plus Fairy type core, which can be very common. Again, yeah, Fairy types are going to be weak against those Fire as well as most Poison and Steel type Pokemon. Here, there's kind of what you can usually beat with that Jellicent, but if you have a Poison type, there's a part Grass type, like the Venusaur, it's going to be just a little bit tough there. Next time, we're going to have here the team of 4, we're going to have the Como, and honestly a very cool backline that I enjoy quite a bit. I could see that there is a better alternative than the Empoleon in the back, just something that can deal with that Dedenne, and that's mainly the issue here. Dedenne is going to be the one big issue, the rest is totally fine. I'd like to have Typhlosion and Say-Stop together with the Como. I think that's going to be a great core, especially as you have Thunder Punch coverage on your Typhlosion, which makes it so much better. Otherwise here, again, Empoleon in the back seems to be like kind of one of the best fits, but I feel like you could run basically any Steel type Pokemon, like Registeel. That's what I want to say there. Would make a lot of sense there as well. Again, it doesn't really matter. Maybe even other Steel type Pokemon are better in order to deal with the Dedenne. I do think that Dedenne is going to be quite common, so having something to deal with it is kind of nice. Maybe something like the Galarian Stunfisk would work out there. But anyway, we can move on to team number 5 now, which is going to have here the Steelix, and we're going to have the Venusaur, and we're also going to have the Gyarados. Gyarados plus the Bastion, I think it said Steelix there, but Bastion plus the Gyarados is kind of the core that you want to run. Okay, getting confused there with the names already. But this is going to be very, very cool, because you're going to have the double weakness to ground and fighting on your lead, but you're going to be able to double resist ground and single resist fighting on the Gyarados. They all kind of work out very, very much well together. Gyarados being mainly weak to electric type Pokemon, you're going to have Venusaur to can counter them. Basically, still Bastion is going to be alright against it. And so it's more of an ABC style line here. What this means is it doesn't really matter if your lead is alive or not. Like, you don't really need to force protect your lead in order to have a chance of winning, because if you're going to encounter a certain Pokemon with an AB style line with a back line and your lead is going to be gone, it's going to be game over instantaneously. Anyway, this is not really the case here for this team, I would say. This team is quite balanced, and again, I think this is going to be a very, very cool team to run here, especially with that Gyarados. Next up, team number 6, we're going to have here Turtonator, the Dusknoir, as well as the Scizor. This is going to be an interesting team here as well. Turtonator, again, a Pokemon that I'm not really too impressed of. I don't really know if I will think that this Pokemon is actually having play or not, but I still kind of had to include it because it is having such a high rank on PvPoke. And so we're going to have your Dusknoir, the Say-Stop, we're going to have the Scizor in the back. Yeah, there is not really a lot of counters to this Pokemon. There's really not a lot of counters to the Turtonator. Only a ground type and rock type offensively. Dragon, I guess, works out, but like, again, Dragon Breath had damage. It's kind of, this Pokemon was really, really strong. It's going to be very tough to take it down, but the backline kind of definitely supports you quite well, I think. Next up, we are going to have team number 7, which is going to be Gaston, the Gyarados, as well as the Bastion. And that's going to be an interesting team as, this is going to be just generally a very, very solid line. We are going to have Gyarados here, who's kind of, again, functioning as a glue between two quite interesting Pokemon there. Like, I feel like that the Gaston kind of works out quite well with that Bastion, because Bastion is going to be able to beat those flying type Pokemon, which you cannot deal with otherwise. So yeah, I think they're kind of working out quite well here together. Gaston together with the Bastion, and I feel like Gyarados is like such a good Pokemon to just fit in 2 different ones, and I think it's going to be the case in a lot of different other teams as well in the future. Next up, we're going to have here a team with that Gyarados, the Say-Stop of Diggersby, and we're going to have the Stunfisk in the back. I kind of just want to include the Diggersby here. This is, of course, mainly geared towards the Gyarados. Gyarados is going to be a very, very fantastic Pokemon generally, but here again, it's going to be Diggersby here, of course, got a little bit nerfed, but still, I think it's going to be a very good team. We're going to have the lead here. That's going to be double Rick to Electric. We would have 2 Pokemon in the back that can resist Electric. We even have our own Electric type then in the back with the Stunfisk. The size up here doesn't really matter too much. Depends on really what you have here. If you want to have Diggersby, go for Diggersby. If you want to have your Marowak, go for Marowak. They're all kind of doing similar things here, so just go whatever you want to. I think the ground type is going to be very strong next season anyway. But yeah, as you can see here, this is going to be a very solid team. Not really a lot of weaknesses. Weakness type is kind of one of the bigger weaknesses, but it is what it is. And again, I think it's going to be a very, very solid lineup here. We can move on to the next team, team number 9. Which is going to be around Murkrow. I had to kind of do it because I like this Pokemon, and B, it's like a Pokemon that's kind of not really getting represented as much there. Otherwise, I hope that this Pokemon is actually in the top meta. I doubt it though. But Murkrow's kind of a cool Pokemon with Foul Play and the Drill Peck getting it. Let's get exactly at the same speed to the charge moves here as, for example, the Empoleon. But yeah, a very cool Pokemon here. I don't think it's going to be super common by any means, but I think it's going to be something you maybe want to prepare for. Generally, encountering a flying type Pokemon is going to be something that's going to happen quite often, and I think that this thing here definitely has a lot of potential there to be still great though, Murkrow. Murkrow with a very interesting effect as well there for this Pokemon. If you go for the non-shell one, it's actually like 100 ranks lower. Like Shadow is actually quite significantly better than the non-shell one, so not too sure about what's going on there, but we can move on to the final team here for today's video, which is going to be around the Ninetales, which got buffed, and we're going to have here also the Primeape as our Sizeup and the Credilli in the back. Credilli, again, as said before, is a very, very solid Pokemon, but this team itself, honestly, worked out really, really well. Yeah, this is going to be the final team here for today. Ninetales got buffed. Ninetales has a lot of different options as well for the moveset. If you want to go Weather Ball, if you want to go Overheat, if you want to go for the Psyshock. We have Sizeup is going to be Primeape. I think a close combat is kind of needed in the current meta. And then just, Credilli in the back is going to be a very bulky Pokemon. And with that, this is going to be it for today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to leave a like. And I will see you then for the next video. Bye-bye.